Hello, my loves, and welcome to week 3. This is so exciting because we have already stepped into the place where we now understand that we are not our thoughts, that we are not our emotions, and that our emotions are not something that is happening to us, but rather an experience that is trying to express through us. So, what do we do when we're faced with conflict, resistance, tension, and find ourselves in the place of limited thinking or essentially creating a problem that is not there, right? So many of our thoughts are running through our heads all the time, and especially if we're focusing on correcting or course correcting a situation in our lives, we really want to have a tool, which you're going to love this, and you're going to love it even more once you put it into practice. But we want to have a way to expand our awareness, right? To open to possibility, to create a space for love to come flooding in. And one way I know without a doubt to do that is to literally create a space for love to flow in. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to begin by getting a notebook. So go ahead and hit the pause button, grab a piece of paper for yourself and or a notebook and a pen and come on back, because you want to be able to create what I call the thought and opposite. This is a practice in opening your ideas and limitations to truly infinite expression. So a lot of times what we're trying to do when we are replacing thoughts and affirming new beliefs is we're trying to sort of force feed ourselves these ideas because we haven't fully grasped that the thing that feels like a problem isn't a problem. And if it does feel like a problem for us, then we also are not available to the infinite possibilities that are outside of the problem, mostly because we are searching that file bank in our heads, and what we're going to come up with is a solution that is based on something we already know, a solution that is based in a historical event. So in order to eliminate the going through the files in our head and old, outdated information, we create this list, if you would. And the list is thought and opposite. And the exercise is designed to help you unload all of those thoughts that have all of those emotions, which are truly the thing that is blocking the love from coming up and moving through your system and moving up into the place where you can actually get into the higher energy centers, where you can have vision, where you can experience this bliss emotion that comes for no good reason, because you are reason enough to experience the bliss. You are reason enough to experience the joy and all the love. So this is one of my favorite tools because you don't actually have to do anything except be an astute listener. And if you can listen to your thoughts and you can write them down, you're going to use this tool effectively. And a lot of times, I don't even have to get through the second part of this tool before I already feel the love returning, before I hear new thoughts, before I feel like I am infinite and expansive again. And this is really going to open up the energy for you without having to force yourself into a belief that you're not quite ready to take on, without creating false evidence to have you become comfortable with the possibility that it could happen for you, and without having to look outside yourself for the answers. So here's my sample. And if you can see this, which I think you can, I'm going to hold it up to you. It says open to possibility across the top. And I usually create 2 columns, one column for my thoughts and one column for the opposite. And so I'm going to read some of these to you so you can see exactly what I mean and how to use this tool. So let's just go through this sample that I have. So let's just say on a day that things are feeling really hard for you, and I don't know, maybe that situation that you really thought you had handled is showing up again and you haven't handled it, and it's still getting to you and you're still reacting and you still don't have peace. So this is the thing you're going to do. You're going to let yourself write down all of the thoughts you have about it. So for example, you're going to write down maybe I am not enough. Like I am not enough to deal with this problem. Or I can't let this go, right? That's a thought. I can't let this go. This thing really has me going. It's aggravating. It's frustrating. I'm holding on. This conflict is just killing me and I cannot let this go. So I'm going to write down I cannot let this go. And then maybe I'm in conflict about my partner or a different type of relationship or my children or someone who's been in my world, a coworker. And it's like you get to the place and you're just like, I don't love him. I just don't love him, right? So you're going to write that down. Or you're going to write down, he hurt me so bad. He hurt me so bad. Or she will never get better. Like no matter how much I do, no matter how much I give, she will never get better. So the thought, she will never get better, write it down. Or perhaps you're experiencing a place where you just feel like you just never have enough love. Like you never have enough. It's never enough for you. So you'll write down, I never have enough love. And we can keep going and going with things like, I can't change this problem, right? Like, I can't change this problem. You know how frustrating that is? I can't change this problem. So you're going to write that down. She always reacts this way. How many of us have a situation where we find the person we're engaging with just seems to always react the same way? And that's where we come to expect that that's what they're going to do. And before you know it, that's the only place they actually can show up. It's the only reply or response they can give to us because that's what we're expecting to happen. And I'll take these last two here. I know how this is going to be. Like, I just know how this is going to be. A lot of times you will find yourself, if you listen very deeply and very carefully to your thoughts, that you already expect to know how things are going to be. And so all of these samples, and it could really be anything on your page, but keep your thoughts simple. Listen to the thought, listen to the core idea of the thought, and put the thought down on the thought side of the paper. Then we're going to come back and we're going to look at the opposite, right? So now what I'm going to do is not try to convince myself that I am not enough, because all I want to do is introduce the idea that on the continuum of any situation, of any condition, of anything at all, right? There's always going to be like 0, negative, or you're going to go to 100 and then positive, right? So on that continuum, there's going to be a range of experiences available to you. And if you are in the lower end of the continuum, meaning I am not enough, there is not enough of me, I am not enough, we are going to stretch that concept all the way out to the opposite. I am enough. And I don't want you to sit there and tell yourself, I am enough, I am enough. No, I just want to introduce the possibility that on this continuum, if you've already gotten on the continuum at I am not enough, that there is also a possibility that you are enough. Because there is no such thing as space and time. And in a parallel world, and just kind of go with me on this, I can talk more about it if you have questions on the Q&A call, but in this space, right, there is all reality happening. So there's the reality that you are experiencing because of your thoughts and ideas. There is the reality that is potentially happening if you were to just shift your focus and awareness over to it. And then there's the reality that you can't even fathom happening because you haven't even entertained the idea, or it's not in your conscious awareness. And so this exercise is going to show you very quickly how to return to a place where there's a love that comes through just for you. that gives you the space you need to actually lighten your moment and move into possibility without telling yourself that you have to do anything. So we're not going to create any extra resistance here. We're just simply continuing the opening process so that love can find a way in, so that love can wow you, so that love can actually show you even more than you thought was possible is in fact possible. So I'll go through a few more examples here. I can't let this go. That's in the thought column. And then I'm going to move to the opposite column and I'm going to write, I can let this go. Knowing fully that I am allowing myself to be anywhere on this continuum, anywhere that love would have me be, right? Knowing and trusting there's a divine intelligence that knows better than I do in the moment of what is truly possible for me. And so by opening this up and stretching this out, I have now released myself from the place where I could not let this go to the idea that maybe I can. Maybe I can let this go. And I haven't actually told myself that I have to let it go, just that it is possible to let it go. So we'll continue. I don't love him. I do love him. Don't overcomplicate your statements. Don't try to overcorrect the opposite of wherever it is you find yourself in thought. Just simply stretch the continuum. He hurt me so bad. He did not hurt me. Just opening to the possibility when you believe that he hurt you so bad, when you open to the possibility that he did not hurt you, you will be so surprised at the thoughts that can come into that space, into your awareness, that your consciousness can open and be receptive to new ideas, to things and experiences that you really could not have felt if you stayed in the place of he hurt me so bad. So let's go on to she will never get better. I know we all have these situations where there's someone in our life that we really do wish they would just change. And a lot of times we just can't see it happening. We want the change, we pray for the change, we hope for the change, we suggest the change. Sometimes we even become positivity bullies and we insist on a change. But if you would just open your mind in this moment, in this way, to simply say, she will never get better, and allow yourself to see the opposite, she will get better. You will be surprised at how the energy can rearrange itself and how new things can happen in that space. I would offer to you that if you have one thought or one situation that's going on for you, that you really let yourself drill down in the situation. So listen to the thought, she will never get better. And then listen to the thought that's underneath that thought. Maybe what really follows in thought is, I can't fix this. I can't fix this. And then you would write on the other side, the opposite, I can fix this. You're not forcing yourself to take an action. We're not demanding that you stand up and fix this. I just want you to expand your awareness around any situation, any condition, any circumstance that's happening in your life. And it can be with relationships, it can be with your businesses, it can be with your partners, it can be with your friends, it can be with yourself. I'll never change. I'll never change this. I'm so scared to change. You can change those thoughts. Let the opposite thought just be a possibility. I'm so excited to change. I'm not scared to change. You don't actually have to overcorrect any of the statements that you make in the thought column. Just do the natural opposite, whatever feels right to you in the moment, and write it down. When you've gone through the process of writing down all your thoughts and you have shared and emptied your head, then you will go through and do the opposites. I actually suggest doing all the thoughts first that come to you in a batch, and then go down and do the opposites. Reading the thought, writing the opposite. I also suggest that you do the opposite in a different color. There is something wonderful about just creating a shift in your perspective by using a different color. It's an indication that you are ready and willing to see another possibility, that you know that something else is possible, and that you're not going to try to control what shows up. which is the freedom that you have truly been seeking all along. The letting go process puts you in a position to surrender the idea that you know best about everything. You really want to surrender yourself to miracles and to open yourself to this energy that just wants to show up for you. It wants to let you know that it's right here, that love is ever present. So for every thought you have that is creating conflict and resistance, that is creating some kind of juxtaposition for you, just write down the thought and put the opposite on the page. I am so excited about sharing this tool with you. This tool has changed my life. It has changed so many situations for me. It has made me such a good, deep listener that I can process in real time, but I want you guys to do this in writing. I want you to begin to see what it looks like to live in the continuum, to get out of these either or places. Because when you see things black and white, when you see things right or wrong, when you are convicted that you know how things are going to go, and you know what the opposite is of that, and it can only be one or the other, you eliminate all the possibilities in between. And this is an experience that we're sharing around stretching and expanding what's possible, about opening to so much more than we ever thought, about letting love have its way with us. Because when love has its way with us, oh, it is delightful. You will be so very surprised. And I know that love is showing up for you in new ways. And I know that you are understanding and practicing these tools. And I know that at the end of this program, you're going to have a completely different perspective and a completely new experience of who you are and how you live in the world. And it is such a beautiful thing to watch you grow. And I cannot wait to see you this week on our call. Any questions that you have, please feel free to put them in the group and we will be sure to address them. I love you guys. Week 3 is here and I am so excited.